That's a tough act to follow and quite an introduction. Thank you very much. And welcome to TOKEN2049. We're going to have a great couple days. First of all, just wanted to extend a thank you to the organizers of this, Raphael and Chris. If you haven't seen them around, they're the two guys with just tremendous beards, fantastic beards. And that's saying something for a crypto conference because there's some great beards here. But thank you very much, guys, for putting this together. What a great lineup we have over the next 2 days. We are going to talk everything from DAGs all the way up to crypto kitties. And we're going to go everywhere in between. We're going to hear about building on the first generation blockchains, building on top of second generation and what those are, building even third generation blockchains and what that means. By the end of the 2 days, you're going to know everything there is to know about blockchain, maybe more than you wanted to know. And it's just a great event here. And we've got some great speakers from all around the world. I know a lot of you flew in from all around the world, so thank you all for being here, taking the time to travel here to this great city, and thank you to the Kerry Hotel for hosting us. So we are going to dig into some of the deeper aspects of blockchain and cryptocurrency. But before we did that, I wanted to just kind of quickly turn back to the legacy markets, the stock markets, and some stuff that has gone on recently that might have some relevance to what we're doing here and what we're going to talk about over the next 2 days. So you may or may not have seen, but Facebook got itself into a little bit of trouble over the weekend. They had a little company called Cambridge Analytics that, I don't know if it was a hack, but got a hold of a lot of user data and used it in the US election. Very controversial. I'm not going to go too far into that. But what I think is interesting about that, and what's interesting for this crowd, is that we might be witnessing peak centralization. And that's not my term, it's my friend Miko. He told it to me. I said, Miko, I'm going to steal that immediately, but I'll give you credit. So shout out to Miko for coming up with peak centralization. But I didn't really understand this term, right? I didn't understand what is this peak centralization? Why do we need a decentralized internet? And how does blockchain fit into it? How do cryptocurrencies fit into it? It made no sense to me, right? My internet worked fine. Okay, great. Some of my data was used. But you know what? I'm still able to order on Amazon. I'm still able to get what I need. I'm still able to use Twitter. But I didn't really understand the decentralized web and Web 3.0 until I went to a Blockstack conference in San Francisco last year. And they had a great analogy of what's going on with the internet today. And I think it applies to what's happened with Facebook. So what they said is, imagine if I came to your house, unlocked the door, walked inside, rummaged all around, looked at all your pictures, looked at all your activities, what you like to do, saw that you liked fishing, you had all kinds of pictures, you with big fishes and everything, and then walked out. And then the next day, I sent somebody to your door and knocked on your door, a salesperson. Would you like to buy a fishing pole? Next day, would you like to buy a fishing pole? You want to buy a fishing pole? And on and on and on, advertising, wanting to know if you want to buy a fishing pole. We'd think that's crazy. We wouldn't let anybody in our house to do that. Yet on the web, we do that every day. Every single time we look something up, we get an ad served to us on what our interests are. It hasn't really been a problem. But I wonder if this Facebook issue might be changing the narrative a bit. Maybe the narrative is shifting, and maybe this peak centralization, there's something to it. And I think the world is waking up to the idea that there is value in our own data, and that there is a technology, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, that can give that value and that power back to us. And we can choose how we want to use it, who we want to see, who we want to have that information. And we can control that data. And if that narrative changes, then everybody in this room is going to be at the forefront of the next technological revolution. Now, I've thought this for a long time, that this is a technological revolution. I wasn't sure how it was all going to pan out. It's kind of interesting because most people think, well, this is going to disrupt the banks. Well, maybe blockchain is going to disrupt Facebook and Google and the peak centralization companies. Maybe that's how it's going to turn out. Maybe the banks have nothing to do with it. So over the next few days, as you're listening to these panels, I want you to think about that and think about, is there something else there? Is there a narrative that's changing in the world? Is the world waking up to the idea that our personal data is valuable? And that this new technology that we're going to talk about over the next 2 days is a way to monetize that for ourselves. We're going to talk about self-sovereignty. We're going to talk about what it means to have your own identity on a blockchain, what it means to hold that. These aren't easy concepts, and these are new things, so it's going to take a bit. But think through it, and think through how this is impacted on your world and the products you use today, how those can change, more than just banking. Because when I wrote the book back in 2014, The Bitcoin Big Bang, I didn't necessarily think the banks would be disrupted. I didn't necessarily think that Facebook would be disrupted, but I knew that when you have a new technology that disintermediates stuff, everything changes. So you go back to Jeff Bezos, who left a Wall Street job to start an online bookstore. Some of you may not be as old as I am, but Amazon started as an online bookstore. There's no way 30 years ago Jeff Bezos could have said, you know what this company's going to do in 30 years? We're going to stream movies to a handheld computer that everybody's going to carry around. None of this existed. So I would challenge you over the next few days to break the mold. Think outside of think outside the narrative that we have today. And for those that are building and those that are investing and are part of this community, I would say that this is an opportunity and also a responsibility for us. Because this is a new technology, it's up to us, everybody in this room, to educate the public about what this is. To educate that, yes, there are some bad actors, but you know what? There's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of great people working on this technology to make new products that are going to be better for all of us. It's up to us to educate people on that. It's also up to us to police this industry. We don't really have a regulatory industry yet. So all of us in this room must be that regulatory agency. We must say this is okay and this isn't okay. And it's up to us to build. It's up to us to build the products that people want, to build the products that advance society, to build the products that make people's lives better. It's an opportunity. And I would say, as a call to action, everybody in this room is part of this community. At the end of 2 days, I hope you all feel like you're part of the blockchain cryptocurrency community. It's a global community. We trust all of us. And I would just end with saying, the one rallying cry for this conference, I would say to you, remember, in us, we trust. Have a great conference, everybody. Thank you very much.